Okay. We are live. Let's do this. Monday. Oh, what's that? Hate that. I don't know if that's a coffee bean. I just don't know anymore. Like, is that a coffee bean? Or is that... I'm actually drinking coffee today because I'm visiting my parents and they brew fresh coffee every day. And I'm like, is that a coffee bean or is that a nano bug? Hi, good morning. Do not continue further with this live if you're new here, please. It'll likely turn you off anyway within the next 5 minutes, but I don't want to rob you of actual education you could get by looking at least 4 to 5 different highlights before getting onto a live. Thank you. And I say that really with all sincerity. Okay. How was everyone's weekend? How was everyone's weekend? I didn't mean for... So the thing is, when I did that post on just the geoengineering, I was pleasantly surprised by the response. There's so many of you on here that are really woke. And that is one of the topics that I've been dealing with just personally with my family for the past 5 years too. And it's just one of those where you're like, you can't talk about this because when you're out in public and you say something to somebody, we're just in such a funky time right now. You know, they say that small talk is when you have to be with somebody and you don't know what to talk about, so you talk about the weather. Oh, nice weather we're having today. That used to be small talk. Don't do that to me if we're out in public, because if somebody's like, oh, interesting weather we're having, I really want to be like, why do you think that is? Or you have that line that we've been sold on for decades of, well, you can't control the weather. And it's like, yeah, unless you're the government, then it can end there. And I really don't want to make it another downer thing, okay? But I feel like I'm done with the Debbie Downer concept and the negative Nancy concept, because if you're not on the Debbie Downer train, you are missing out. You're really missing out. Okay, if you want more information on that, because I don't want to make the whole talk about that, go to geoengineeringwatch.org. That would be like the learntherisk.org. It's just plethora of information. I could give you other sources, but for now, that is a great start, okay? geoengineering.org. And then try to save all the patents, because every time I feel like I post up articles and links to the patents for people who have been admitting to the geoengineering and that this has been around for decades and decades, they get pulled, they get removed. So then you're also like, oh great, there's one more thing that we're just not allowed to look into. We're just not allowed to look into it. And you had a lot of confused people. Oh, why are you talking about this topic? Your credibility and all that. Credibility, hello. We are going to soon forget what real skies looked like. And we're already forgetting what they looked like. We have people that are, oh no, that's just vapor from airplanes. Can you follow? Can you start off your day where it's sunny? Start taking pictures with all the, just jet engine, whatever, okay? And then see what happens, and that haze that forms, and then start looking. Exactly. I love when people are like, do you have more research on this? I need proof. Oh my gosh, my Facebook post, there were a couple people that jumped on, were like, I'm just gonna need further proof. And you're like, look up. How about you look up? If you don't know what is going on, it's because your face is looking down 99% of the day, maybe. So maybe just start noticing what's happening from above you. And hashtag gas chamber USA, okay? We got, Nicole's on. So I don't want to make the whole chat about that, but if you're not paying attention, please start paying attention. That we're being sprayed. And we've had enough people are out there. Go on any of the sites right now before they get blocked off. People who are testing their own soil. So all of these like, oh, organic, we shop organic, we do organic. Your soil is no longer organic when it's been sprayed with, and the soil is being tested. Aluminum, barium, lithium, okay? All of these things are coming out there's thallium in there. Like it's in your soil. So are we even eating real food anymore? And then it's funny because I'll go into these talks and then I'll always get the one or two people that'll be like, why do you think they're doing this? And then you're just like, oh, that's how it starts. That's how it starts. So that is the entrance into looking into this stuff. Side note, you can't start looking into, you can't be finished and graduated from indoctrination camp, which is schooling in America, and start delving into the vaccine topic. I guarantee you that the minute that you do start diving into that and admitting to just a few facts, the rest of this stuff is going to be so much, I don't want to say easier to process. What's the right word? You're going to start hearing things and be like, oh, well, yeah, of course, duh. Yes, of course. Because you also, it takes, first of all, admitting that you were lied to for almost your entire life. Okay, we talked about that last Friday, how we condition the lie from childhood. We lie to our children all the time, and sometimes for no reason at all. We talked about Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. Pointless lies, really. Oh, I just want to make their childhood fun. No, what you're doing, though, and I'm not judging you, okay, because I'm guilty, but what you are doing is you are getting them used to, well, it's okay to lie if it's gonna just, number one, be fun. It's okay to lie if you're their parent and you're their governing source. So you are their parent, you are their provider when it comes to shelter, to food, to some people would look at the government like that's their parental provider. And you will not bite the hand that feeds you, and you will also forgive them for the lie. You'll forgive them for the lie because, well, they've nurtured you. And they did it because you'll also make all the excuses for the lie. They won't even have to make excuses for why they lied. You will be the one with Stockholm syndrome excusing the lie. Well, my parents did it because they wanted me to have a fun childhood. My parents lied because they didn't want me to know that kind of information. Why do we lie to people? Why is it so easy to lie to people? And why is the country not up in arms over all the poison, over literally what is happening right under our noses and above our noses, all around us? We are so numb to being lied to. And we're of the mindset, well, there's just some things that we shouldn't know. I hear that a lot. I know you're diving into this right now, but don't you think there's just some things that you shouldn't have access to and some things you shouldn't know about, and just leave the people in charge to deal with that? How many people around us live by that excuse to not further do any research for their own? And not only that, but it's one thing for you to not want to do the research. That's okay. I won't even call you lazy. I mean, depending on the circumstance. But if it's a road that you just don't want to go down, I can understand that. But don't put a roadblock for the rest of the population that is curious and wants to find out. Don't be that person. Don't be the teacher in the Truman Show that pulls down the map and says, sorry, everything's already been discovered. I know you want to be an adventurer, an explorer, but everything's been explored. There's nothing for you to explore anymore. It's done. The work has been done. The very biased work has been done. So you don't have to do it. Okay? And we hear this all the time. All right? I have a thread going on right now on my Facebook. I left my follow button on now so that because it limited the people. But it's a very interesting thread, and if you want to jump on there before I private everything again, because now I'm like, oh, I feel like the territory I'm tapping into might be a little bit like, oh, I just don't want to get in trouble. I'm just like that person. Oh, okay, I'll talk about this one more bit of truth, just one more little thing, and then another thing pops up, and I'm like, people have to know. They have to know about this. Meanwhile, before I just don't want to ruin Disneyland for everybody. Okay, was that a... I'm not, and I won't even judge you, but I just can't ruin, there's like agenda with even Toy Story 4 right now, like, oh my gosh, if you can't see that. Okay, so I posted this, and you guys should really read through the comments on this one, okay? Look at this. Name one thing past governments have admittedly lied about, and the people not only forgave them, but allowed them continue on their merry way. And this is where the comment section here, I think, is very interesting for you guys to thumb through and just consider, because big one, okay, big one. Now, what why I made that thread is just to prove that those that have been in charge have already admittedly, and it is out in the open now, about a lot of stuff that we were lied to about and kept from and told something the complete opposite. So to sit back today and not realize that this same governing forces are still continuing and still in business, and to be so naive to say, well, they wouldn't lie to us. They wouldn't. You got to be on another level of like, you're the crazy one now. If all you can do is spout conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist to somebody, it really showcases your laziness and how easy it is to brainwash you. Okay. And that's a very, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's kind of scary, but it's something to witness. It really is. I want to play this short clip. So do you guys remember that movie Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson? This is actually really funny because he ended up kind of becoming a conspiracy theorist. So he plays this conspiracy theorist in this movie. Many of you might not remember it or know about it. It was made in 1997. But I just want to play the first minute of this movie, because he's driving around in this taxi cab and he's spouting out all of these conspiracies, government conspiracies, okay? And you're watching this in this day and age going, was this a freaking hint, setup, trap? Because how many movies and how many times does Hollywood love to just, by the way, we know, and throw that out there, like, oh, here's another fireball. We know that some of you guys know, but it's still fun to mess with you and toy with you. Okay, so One Girl's Here, it's my favorite movie. I watched the rest of the movie with Jeff, and honestly, we were like, what a way to, not a fan of the ending, but okay, the beginning stuff and how he was kind of set up, very interesting and almost by design. You have to hear this, okay? I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to just play the first minute of this movie here. So it's on Amazon Prime. Maybe watch it before they take this one down too. I feel like they put movies on for just a month or so, right? And then they remove it, but just watch this beginning part. Very interesting. Okay, let's flip it to that.
Nobel Prize winners were rounded up by United Nations military units, all right? And actually forced at gunpoint to give semen samples in little plastic jars, which are now stored below Rockefeller Center underneath the ice skating rink. We want to be there for the thaw. It's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will, takes away the capacity for free and creative thought, and makes you a slave to the state.
Did you guys hear that part? He's talking about, is there options here for subtitle? Oh, here. Oh man, I should have put the subtitles on. I'm gonna just play that one part really quick again. Makes you a slave to the state. Let me put the subtitles, sorry. He's talking about fluoride. Okay, this is in 1997, and listen to what he is saying. And you're like, Hollywood, really? Here.
Yeah, fluoride. On on the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will, takes away the capacity for free and creative thought, and makes you a slave to the state. You ever wonder about all these militia groups, survivalist type kooks on the right-wing side? They say that they're defending the country from the UN troops. These guys are yelling so loud. My theory is, and this is a conspiracy, pal, that they are the UN troops and that they're in place. The infrastructure's ready. It's just a fait accompli. When the time comes, they'll just take over. We'll all be toast. Oswald, yeah, Oswald. That's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? Tell you the one about Arm & Hammer goes to the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, Armin, you've only got 3 minutes to live. And he says, oh, my God, that's terrible news. Isn't there anything you can do for me, Doc? 3 minutes. And the doctor says, well, Armin, I can boil you an egg. I guess not. All right. Do you ever see those advertisements like, got milk? Hey, open up. Open it up. What's going on in there? Open it up. Son of a bitch. Eat beef? I mean, that's kind of like saying smoke cigarettes or drive cars. I mean, it's real generic. It's like this guy looks at me and he says to me, you think you're living in a free country? You think this is a democracy? Of course it's not. Websites, newsletters, self-published manifestos, they think we're kooks. I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those three little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and as ex-director of the CIA.
All true.
Sends conspiratologists everywhere spinning their wheels, and they destroy their own credibility. Hey, don't get me wrong, sister. I'm sure your heart's in the right place, okay? But, you know, somebody's got to lift the scab, the festering scab that is the Vatican. The chip for identification so they can track down an animal anywhere he's at, you'll insert it under the dog's skin, and it's kind of like an identification. I mean, it's only a small, logical step until they start putting it in us and our children. And then, before we know it, my God, they'll probably come with the pretext. Oh, sure, yeah. Hey, is that one of those new hundreds? You know, where they changed the picture of Ben Franklin? Look at him. Yeah. He looks like the love child of the Fred Mertz and Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, get rid of him as soon as you can, lady. Look at it up to the light. You see the metal strip in it? That's a tracking device. You got any more of those at home? Get rid of them. Exchange them for goods or something. Because they'll follow you. They know where every one of those hundreds is going.
Okay, so, you know, I know it's a movie. But the fluoride thing, you guys, we have all been... Oh, Joshua Coleman's on. Hi, Joshua. I was just, like, floored when I saw that clip. And Jeff and I were watching it yesterday going, oh, my gosh, that festering scab that is the Vatican, and how many people, the minute you talk one bit of negative about this Pope of theirs, they lose their minds. That is the other big takeaway from anything in this. So when I want to talk about progression down this rabbit hole, the minute you realize that vaccines are actually poison, okay, your journey starts when you say, you do all the work and you go, yes, that makes sense. Okay, they're poison. This is when you wake up to everything, though. It's when your eyes light up and you get this sink in your throat, literally, and your heart just kind of goes faint for a bit, and you go, wait, why would they want to poison us? If you're in that stage right now, you know what? My heart goes out to you. It's a really, really dark, depressing week or two. But when you first ask that, why would they do this to us? That, my friends, is when you can take that nosedive into the rest of all of this that we have just gone and normalized. And you will start seeing agendas everywhere. It's easy for me to just look at you and say, oh, okay, because the easy answer to that is, well, depopulation. Because those in charge and the elites, they are all about this it's like 500,000 number that they want to get everything to. So everybody is a part of it. If you can help in any way reduce that number, you're good to them. Okay, you could be golden child to them. And so it's not just like one business, one organization that does any of this stuff, but all supporters, just like all supporters of the Pope, all supporters of Muhammad, all supporters of anything religious and cultish, they will threaten you the minute you talk negative on anything. And by talk negative, it could just be questioning something. Have you ever tried it? Have you ever just tried questioning, like, hey, so in the Bible, okay, I understand why you believe what you believe, but in the Bible, there's this part here that just really bothers me. What do you think that is? And sometimes you'll get them, honestly, you'll catch them making up the answer as they go along to like how it fits their opinion. And it's, maybe they're coming from a good place, but you are questioning, for them, it's this defense. You're questioning their God and their entire belief system. And you don't question somebody's entire belief system without setting off this trigger and this pain. And honestly, I used to be very much like that. And my response, because I grew up in a very Christian household, my dad's a pastor, my response for the longest time, because I questioned a lot as a kid, clearly. I didn't grow out of that. But then I noticed that my response to people was the red flag response that I myself didn't like when it came to medical mafia, questioning authority with this. I did not like that I would start telling people, okay, you know what, but it's my faith, like, don't go questioning my faith. Like, I had all of those similar responses that I'm sure many of us do. It's also why I just didn't care and closed my ears off to the whole circumcision chat. I was just like, nope, because all I heard was you telling me that I was a bad mother. So sometimes that's all parents are hearing when you tell them there's poison in this stuff. They're not hearing anything. Their ears are ringing with, this person is staring at me, telling me that I'm poisoning my children. And they can't get past that. And it takes swallowing up a lot of pride and ego to get past that and just start looking around and questioning everything, okay? Because then once you go down that path of, okay, this is why they're poisoned. Why are they poisoning us? Oh, then you find out that polio was man-made, that it was DDT that they were spraying on us. Then there's now this connection with cancer. Then all the other lies start popping up. You start looking at all of these organizations that are Race for the Cure, March for the Cure. Can we ask about why nobody gives a about the cause, though? How dare you? How dare you, attack our organization? We're trying to help people. We're trying to come up with a cure. But Susan G. Komen, it's been some decades since you've been talking about this cure. Can we ask for like an invoice, maybe? Like billions have been donated at this point. Can we get an update? Can we ask for a status update? How dare you question Susan G. Komen? I mean, how many women do you know in your life that march yearly for a cure? And they're marching, and these marches are sponsored by cancer-causing companies. Revlon, Yoplait. At the end of the relay, you get a hot dog. Okay, like, nobody is putting this stuff together, and you're going, I'm getting attacked for just asking why. I'm just asking why. Or if I can get some kind of, hey, all the scientists working to find a cure, what have you found so far? We're just curious. What have you found so far? Because so far, I got Jennifer Aniston and Robin Williams, rest in peace, but all of these people who are on my television daily telling me to donate to these hospitals for kids because childhood leukemia is on the rise, big time. And when I'm just questioning why, I then come to find out that they're putting these kids through this remission now and giving them Doritos still. But then last I checked, you guys are also reporting that GMOs are causing cancer. So why are you giving Funyuns and hot Cheetos to children going through leukemia treatment? And then why are you surprising them with a Ronald McDonald visit when everyone knows that food is fake food that causes cancer are like, do I sound crazy? Or does that sound crazy? Okay? It is this, it's a matrix. And once again, Hollywood has put that in our face. So then you start looking into, well, I now need to know about when this became normal to begin with. So now what's your only source historically to get to what were things like in the 40s and 50s? Well, your elderly. What's happening to our elderly, y'all? They're killing off our elderly big time. Then you look into the connection between these nursing homes, retirement homes, and you see that, wow, within a week of them getting these flu shots and within a week of, being admitted, and then all of a sudden there's this scene in that movie Conspiracy Theory where he asks her to switch the charts at the hospital, right? And I know it's just a movie, but she switches the charts for him, not really believing him, and the next day that guy dies of a heart attack, and the other guy, and she goes, you're telling me that because I switched the charts that they gave that guy in the hospital something that was going to just stop his heart? And he was like, yep, thanks for switching the charts. Like, we already know, and we're being told all the time, that these hospitals are the third leading cause of death in this country. It goes heart attacks, right? Cancer, medical error. It's killing 250,000 people yearly, and they're excused by it. So you're also going, why am I spending so much time defending a broken system to begin with? Okay, and I know if you just jumped on here and this is like your first time, this is why I said get off, because it's gonna completely just, I don't know where this conversation, I'm sorry if this conversation took a turn like that. I'm not sorry. But then you understand the disassembly of the family unit and the weakening of our men. And you're saying, why does this country praise broken families so badly? Why are we normalizing that so badly? Why is it that if you were to brag about your family, let's say my parents have been married for over 40 years and we're still married for this long and we've got these kids and we're just like happy why is it that it's acceptable now for people to shame you because your bragging is making them feel lesser than, and like it, don't you see it? Don't you see it? This country applauds brokenness. And why is it so easy for us to just throw mom and dad into a retirement home by the time they're too old and irritating to take care of? We've been conditioned from the start. So if you have elderly in your life and they still are decent up here, which is what we were talking about last week, start asking them about their life as children. Ask them about what allergies were around. Ask them about how many short buses came to their school to pick up all these kids with all these chronic problems. Just start asking them questions like that. Many of them will still believe that the vaccine thing saved lives without realizing that they only had 2 or 3 of these things, and just don't dive into that with them any further, especially if they're in a nursing or retirement home, because that could get really bad. But just start asking them these questions because their stories are dying out. They're dying out, their stories are dying out, and you got people nowadays walking around town going, man, I can't explain all of this not being able to breathe and this raspiness and this, they just can't explain it. But they say it's just been going on for so long. And then you look at the TVs, you look at the commercials, you look at the children's shows, and you're seeing this stuff in the air in these cartoons going, oh, wow, they're just making it so these kids think that's always what a sky has looked like. Okay, so the agenda is everywhere, and we know that. Do I have a solution? No. Here's a quick fix solution. Find a soulmate, okay? Somebody that you're not just gonna one night stand and you don't just want them for their body, and find a soulmate and find a tribe, okay? Like a good tribe that you can trust, that you guys have kind of the same outlook on life, because this is life. It's really sad to think that this is our new normal. But when you do choose to break free of the mindset that is so crippling and makes you so dependent on a system that is pretty much poisoning you and poisoning your mind, there is something satisfying in the now ultimate dependence on the creator. And you got to find that soulmate, and how do you have fun in life? What's the rest of that to have fun in life? I don't know. Make love to that person very often and a lot. Because that's free, first of all. It's fun, and that's probably the closest that you're going to experience to heaven on earth. But B-U-T-T, stay away from ass eating. Because apparently let's not talk. We touched in on that last Friday. So now I want to talk about the push that we saw for, we've explained that they're going to be pushing HPV. This was last week, right? We explained how they're going to push it. We saw what Page 6 did, CNN. They're all regurgitating the same articles. And now they're probably like, oh, we can't talk about that too much because now it's getting people to be afraid of doing things in that dirty way. But then ask yourself, because then when I looked into it further, and I'm sorry that I had to spend a day looking into ass eating, because I was like, why is this even a thing? Only to find out that it's in 19 different rap songs and R&B songs. It's people are talking about eating booty like groceries, and you're just like, oh, kids are singing about this stuff. So obviously they're trying it. So obviously they're not going to put one and one together. They're going to go into their doctor's office and be afraid of something like HPV, okay, which that only covers 4 strains. They're also not calling it Gardasil anymore. There's a lot to that. But they're normalizing all of these sexcapades for these kids to be having, and the kids are going to be all of a sudden diseased and not knowing why they're diseased. It ruins it for a lot of us, okay? Just that thread alone, I was like, great. Now I know which anti-vaxxers to stay away from on the future anti-vax cruise convention, whatever we go to, right? Probably shouldn't be on a ship because it's going to be the one that they're going to want to just tank. But we're all going to meet up at a convention somewhere if we do get to kill all these bills and beat Big Pharma. So I'm just going to have to know which ones of y'all I'm not supposed to share a drink with. I don't want to judge though. I really don't want to judge. Okay? But even if Jeff was like, would you want me to do that for you? So here's the thing. If you ever do that for me, we just can't kiss ever again. We can't kiss ever again. And we also, I don't want you also kissing our babies and sharing food with our babies. I'm not even, that's not admitting that I'm dirty down there, okay, that I don't know how to wipe. That's not an admission. That's literally the spot for human, that's what your body's waste. That's the waste. It's your body has said, none of this stuff belongs in here. It's got to come out. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about that bit too much. But how else are they pushing it now? So we saw Versed HPV is this account that only had, who cares? But it's you're seeing all these ads, sponsored ads for this kind of stuff. Nicole goes, toxic waste. Yes, it's toxic waste. Okay, fertilizer. Fertilize the earth with it if you want. But don't fertilize my face. Hold on. Oh, so how else are they going through with pushing this stuff? The most embarrassing ones are the ones where they're caught in the act, right? They're caught with their PR stunts. That one was pretty embarrassing. Oh, and all the parasites. And you know what? With the parasite thing, it's not just it's not just parasites all the time. A lot of it is pinworms. Apparently, a lot of what I've been seeing is biofilm that comes. It's still waste that needs to come out, but there's just a lot of waste that's in our bodies. And we're asking why, without looking up. Oh, I get it. That's why. No wonder. It's sad. I don't want to detox for the rest of my life. What is this? That's not supposed to be an everyday thing that we're every day having to worry about what poisons were ingested, okay? It's coming through all sources. I am actually proud of myself because I've been looking at labels like no other. We were at the hotel yesterday and Seb was like, Mom, can I have this? And he pulls out a can. So first of all, it's an aluminum can and it says 100% grape juice. And so I turn that and it's like concentrate, grape juice concentrate, and then like all the acids, and you're just like, oh my gosh. So these labels too, can you even trust the labels? If you can't trust the companies as they are, like the Doritos bag, how much do Doritos have to pay to have the word organic go on top of their products? The whole organic thing, you guys, I'm feeling scammed, are you? I'm feeling big time scammed because if Doritos can put the word organic on something, they got us. They got us. Okay? It's all just basura though. So these are the scams that I'm talking about. This was posted over the weekend and it's been going viral. I'm sure you've seen it. Okay, there's this one here. European health chief pretends to vaccinate his niece with the MMR to reassure vaccine-hesitant parents. The PR stunt gets busted as the safety cap was still on the vaccine. So first of all, there's a couple questions here. This is not a good upsell to begin with. Let's say you were actually giving the vaccine and it wasn't just a PR stunt. The baby looks miserable, okay? You're the uncle holding the baby. Where are the parents? Where are the parents? I know that this is your publicity stunt and you likely, only use kids for adrenochrome, but why are you holding the baby like this? Okay? Looks very terrified. This is traumatic. Even if it's fake, you have already caused some kind of trauma. She's not wearing any gloves. Okay, any of these photos that you see where these nurses are vaccinating somebody, or you've got a celebrity or a news reporter that's like, gonna go get my flu shot, like that one from last year, that guy who went and to go get his flu shot, the nurse wasn't even wearing gloves. You just know that they're not injecting them. That's not proper protocol, and these people know that the stuff in there, if they don't know, they know this much. That if the stuff in that gets broken or falls on the floor, there's a spill or touches their skin, it's dangerous. It becomes a hazmat situation. So why would you not use the gloves? Okay? So just these health officials are just a bunch of liars. This is the same shills, okay, that want to tell you. They're the same shills that want to tell you to vaccinate your kids, and they don't do the same thing. It's just like the royals wanting to, modern medicine. The whole royal family is about, okay, definitely modern medicine, like trust the doctor, trust the hospitals, and they give birth naturally and they use a lot of holistic, remedies when it comes to and they drink the blood of babies, so it's like keeping them alive forever. So anyway. But yeah, complete scum, right? Scumbag people that do this. That is pure evil. We talked about what is evil, what is not. How can you tell? Well, evil is when you know, okay, the difference between wrong and right. Like you can't compare the toddler who picked up the gun and accidentally shot somebody. Like it's tragic and terrible, but nobody looks at that situation and says that toddler's at fault because that toddler is still not of the knowledge. It should have been somebody, we got into that. But evil is when you already know wrong from right and you are also lecturing others on how to live and how to be while doing the opposite. Like that's complete evil. And those kind of people don't deserve our truths. They don't deserve, they certainly don't deserve our worship as many people love to just whatever you say, and you're like, you're not even doing that. I mean, you could take a very simple example as all the rich and Hollywood loves to tell us that we need to have open borders and we need to be more welcoming, yet they have the highest walls around their estates and their mansions, and they're guarded. They love to tell us that we shouldn't have guns and firearms to protect ourselves, but they walk around with security. If you can see that little example and still not get it, you are so far down the other side, buddy. And it just, I mean, there's going to be a lot of prayer there for you. You're the person that blames everyone else for your kid being sick. You'll blame the kid that literally is not carrying anything. That's such a disconnect already there if you can't see that for what it is. And it is just one big sadness to see. Like, oh my gosh, I get very discouraged when I see posts like that. So, all right, going into now the utter madness, I want to talk about how the big argument, okay, from the pro side is herd immunity. I got a herd immunity highlight on here I've saved, but you hear that all the time. We have to protect the herd. We got to protect the weak population. So we have to protect the 0.7% of people who have compromised immune systems. And here's the thing, that number is all off. I'm just going by the numbers they want to tell you. The number is over half, okay? 50% of people, there's 54% of children in this country have some kind of chronic illness. And if you look up just chronic illness, chronic disease, and that long list, to me, you're immune compromised. If you're on anything on that list, you are already immune compromised. If you're born in 2019, okay, and your parents are feeding you organic, but it's been sprayed, you're now immune compromised. We are actually all immune compromised. So if you think about it, none of us should be adding any more of these metals and poisons into our system. We're all immunocompromised. I think hashtag everybody needs to walk around now immunocompromised, because you kind of are. If you have an allergy to anything, your immune system is compromised. Okay? If you have a bad reaction to anything, so the whole talk is you're an insensitive douche if you don't get your kids vaccinated because of the poor kid that is at the hospital that can't get vaccinated, okay? But here's the thing. They're vaccinating immunocompromised. How many accounts do we have to see? And we can continuously... The thing is, it depends if it's a public account. So if it's a private account, don't try to share that because, they obviously want to stay private for a reason. But there's a lot of parents out there that are going through chemo with their kids and they share their kids' story. So literally, if you just looked up the hashtag FUCK cancer, you will find a lot of public stories. And what you will see is these children who are all on the schedule, okay? I haven't met one. Send me the one, okay? But all of them have been up to date on the CDC schedule. These parents will post sometimes and have the nerve, and it's not so much the nerve, they're really just, they don't know. They don't know any better, and they trust medicine. So for them, they're being told at the hospital, your kid's immune system is now super compromised, they're very sick, and what's happening and why it's so dangerous out there is because you have this anti-vax community that is not vaccinating their kids, so that now okay, so many wrongs there, right? The shedding. So how come then the cancer wards and these NICU units won't allow somebody who's recently had a live virus vaccine in there because they know that you are shedding for weeks after getting the vaccine? Please stay home if you've been vaccinated recently. You're shedding on everybody. Why would these places hold up these signs? That's one, okay, to debunk the entire herd immunity thing. But you guys are pretending, right? We're playing pretend here that these people aren't getting fully caught up to their vaccines after their cancer is gone from their system. That is the saddest part of all of this. You have these parents that are like, I'm so happy to announce that little Jacob is now in remission and cancer-free. We can't wait. The doctor said by next week we can start getting caught up on immunizations again. And you're like, oh my God, oh my God. Like every time I get these posts sent to me, I'm like crushed. Because then you go on these pages and you go, hey, that's awesome. Congratulations that your kid is now in remission and cancer-free. Can you not put known neurotoxins and cancer-causing ingredients back into their system, maybe? And you say that, and you will just cause yourself a world of hate coming your way, because I've done it a couple times. But I say it in a very nice way. Well, nice is in the eye of the reader who misinterprets tone all day long. Because you can read anything and be like, oh my God, that's how she was saying this. And I'm literally typing it like, in my mind, I think I'm typing it going, hey, ... You might want to look into that, because a lot of this stuff is what's also causing many of these diagnoses that we're seeing in children. And I just would hate for your son to fall back into they're reading it like, hey, ... I just think that you need to look into this a little bit more, because a lot of these kids that are being diagnosed with this stuff, like, that is how they're reading it. So when I say I can't help how you interpret something, I mean it. I really cannot help how you interpret something. I've had people who will be like literally reading something I say and say, your tone, honey, calm yourself. Tone your tone down. And you're like, how are you reading that? I'm now more curious to find out what I sound like in other people's minds, because I must sound like a whole lot of stuff. There should really be a bit or a parody. I've been wanting to do that for months now, of just like these girls that are trying to have a texting conversation with each other, and you're texting going, I'm like trying to use my phone as a prop, but I forget it's right here. And you're texting going, in your mind, you're going, hey, what would you like to do tonight with the girls? And the girl who gets it is like, ugh, okay, she's asking again. She's going, hey, what do you want to do tonight with the girls? Like, you could do a lot with that, right? We are so bad. We're so bad at this, but it intrigues me anyway. So these immunocompromised people are already, okay, in admittance, suffering because their immune systems have been compromised. Why then do you have Harvard Medical School and Children's Hospital in Boston? And this is just one of many letters that are out there that are being shared online right now. But the Department of Medicine, okay, on June 3rd of this year, wrote to this parent, all right? And this is what they're saying to them. Dear, their names had to be scratched off. The kid's name and all that stuff, right? The infectious diseases team at Boston's Children's Hospital on 5/24/19 in preparation for heart transplantation. So clearly this person is already very immunocompromised. They're getting a heart transplant. But the name of the child, okay, is not currently up to date on his immunizations for age based on current ACIP guidelines, which is a lot. We have asked the family to call your office and obtain an appointment in the very near future for administration of the following immunizations based on the CDC catch-up schedule. This is what they want this kid to get before they do a heart transplant. Okay. Number one, right now, okay? He needs his second DTaP, Hib, the Prevnar, the IPV, Hep A, okay? The meningococcal. He needs the MCV4, PPSV23. This is the Prevnar that has 23 bacteria instead of the 13. And it's so funny because people talk to them and they just have no idea what it is they're vaccinating against. Some people think that there's an actual disease called Prevnar. And you're like, no. Okay, that's what they need to get done. And then in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, all of this, they need to get caught up with, okay, before they get this heart transplant. This is absolute evil. There we go. We got Menactribran should be given at least 4 weeks after completion of the PCV13 series. Blank, this is the kid again, has also not received either MMR or varicella vaccines. These are live viruses that shed. Varicella is the chickenpox. We do not see a contraindication to blank. receiving these vaccines at this time, as he is not currently listed for heart transplant here at BCH. MMR and varicella can be given as 2-dose series with one now and a second dose in 4 weeks. Administer as many vaccines as possible at a single appointment. That line, you guys. If MMR and VCV are required, please administer both of these at the first visit. Do not hesitate to call our office with any questions, concerns. You know, I'm not going to say to call their office, but I mean, if you have questions or concerns, this is the hospital. Okay? You guys, how can they tell us that we need to now get our kids all up to date to spare the children who can't get vaccines when they are vaccinating them anyways? They're gonna get caught up, you guys. Their immune systems are compromised now. If they survive whatever ghoulish zombie treatments they're getting in a hospital center, oh, you're healthy again? Back on the schedule you go. To help with all the other immunocompromised children. This is sick. It's absolutely sick. It's maddening. And if you think this is normal, way to go. Way to go. I am constantly with this. This should be blasted all over the country because of the narrative of we have to help those kids that are immunocompromised. Seriously? Print this out and carry this letter in your pocket everywhere you go along with an insert. Because if you meet the stooge that's at the park that's not, the unwoke. If you're out there and you meet the unwoke and they bring this up to you, say, I find that really interesting. And just start. You know what I mean? This is madness. The people are using that. And so many of our friends and family members are using that. Right? You just have to have it ready. Ammunition, you know? We're soldiers. We keep talking about how we're constantly at a war. This is a domestic war. We are on our soil being poisoned and being lied to by the leaders and those in charge, okay? We're in a domestic war. Our entire, constitution was founded on that. You not only have the right to question authority when they're acting tyrannical, but it is your duty to overturn a tyrannical government. How are we going to do that when half our men are so sedated and weak and drinking the fluoride? How are we going to do that? We got people that just don't want. I just don't wanna, I'm not in the mood right now. I'm not in the, I gotta tell you guys, what we have here it's a syndrome, right? It's this someday somebody will do something syndrome. That's what we are all stuck with right now. The someone, the someday syndrome. Okay? But guess what? That someone is you. That someday is now. And that something, okay? That's something. If you don't have a fire and a burning desire in you to get charged up and be that rebel that you were meant to be and that you put on this earth for, while you still have the capability, while you still have a voice, while you still have breath, no one's coming to the rescue. No one's coming to the rescue, okay? Not Terminator. God. It's like mankind has frozen in fear of its own shadow. We're just afraid to come out and say anything because we're going to die anyway. Really? It's so sad that that's kind of where it's gotten to. It's sad that when you see people that are out there being brave, the most you can do is tell them, well, I'll pray for you. I mean, that's great that you're going to pray for them, honestly, and they appreciate your prayers, I'm sure. I'll pray for you. You know, how can I support without having to be vocal? Because just, you know, it's really hard because my family is like, they think this certain way, or my group of friends think this certain way. Honestly, your friends. Oh my God. Don't tell somebody that's out there in the front lines, that's actually out there in the ring fighting, that you would do that. But like, your kid has this play date that's coming up that you don't want to, like, are you kidding me? Get out of here with that. Just, well, you know, dying's imminent, so just, what are you doing giving me your excuses for anyway? Who cares? You're gonna die anyway, right? It's this really toxic syndrome, and it makes all the sense. But just, we're all breathing that same air. We're all breathing the same air, okay? And then it's being silenced, and it's being taken down. Your forums and your means to go look this stuff up. It's heartbreaking every day. It really is. We've been sold on what we're seeing in the boxes. You know, everyone's television is the forefront of their room, right? If you notice now, every TV is the center and the focal point of your space. And I had a post the other day, and there was a comment on there that was, oh God, can I find it? But it was bringing that up, and it made a great point to me. I go, why is it that just about every home in this country, every decoration, everything you're setting up around your house revolves around the lie box? Why is that? And that's everywhere. That's how everything's staged. That's in every home. Like, I don't think televisions should be in bedrooms. For sure. Because that should be your escape and your getaway and your place to just, like, relax and get your, like... And anyway, it just... When that comment was brought up, I was like, wow. That's really valid. That we center everything around the box of lies. That is probably why we think the way we think to begin with. And not only that, but the EMF's coming from those things, right? But I don't know what to do anymore at this point, you guys. I'm stuck too. I know that growing your own food is like growing your own money. You're better off growing your own anything than having to rely and depend on what they're trying to give you, what they've told us is all food. I had a girl who told me that I was shaming her when I said, stop feeding your kids. Like, I said it in a nice way. It wasn't, you know. But I was like, hey, I wouldn't give my kids microwave food like that. She's like, well, I work all day long. I come home and I'm tired. And so her kids 5 days out of the week are eating microwaved dishes in front of a TV. That's like dinner. But America has normalized that, right? As like family time and the new dinner. Family time is not around a television box with microwave dishes. And she had the nerve to be like, well, we buy organics. You can't buy organic and microwave it. It kills off. Man. I don't even know how to end this properly. We stopped using our microwave too for years and years, but that's like the normal. That's society now. Oh, okay. And you're working so hard because why? Oh, I'm working so hard to pay for the house, to pay for the car that I take to go to work at a job I hate, to just pay for all this so that I can have my Netflix account, so that oh man, break it down in that way. We are trapped. We're trapped. How do you undebt slave? How do you undebt slave? Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, that's my talk for the day. I'm gonna go. I gotta get some work done. Responding to emails and a bunch of other things. We will chat again soon, you guys. Take care. I'm gonna unplug as I use the... Okay, all right. We gotta go. I gotta go. Me and my mind and all the thoughts. Dinosaurs. Dragons. Okay, bye.